coloradoui.gov. Those watching online can also submit questions to our real-time poll. You can also participate in the poll if you're calling in. Very quickly, those polling questions for those on the phone. Top 5 questions that we'd like to survey on today. What are you calling about, and what are you most interested in getting out of today's town hall? Press 1 for PIN number. Press 2 for how to qualify for the extra $600 benefit. Press 3 for more information about the CARES Act. Press 4 for gig worker or self-employed eligibility. And press 5 for when will I see my first check. Again, you can participate in the poll online or by phone, and we'll remind you halfway through the call what those phone options are to participate in the poll. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff.
Great. Thank you, Rebecca. Again, my name is Jeff. We have a short presentation prepared for you. We're hoping that it provides a good overview of our agenda today, as well as some questions we're anticipating. So with that, we'll dive into the presentation. So the structure of our call today is that our agenda includes the status of unemployment benefits in Colorado. Then we're going to launch into a discussion specifically on the CARES Act, which I know is of great interest. Specifically, we're going to be talking about pandemic unemployment assistance, which is also known as PUA or PUA. And then we're also going to be talking about pandemic unemployment compensation, which is essentially the additional $600 weekly benefit that claimants will be eligible for. We'll then move into some frequently asked questions. And then from there, we'll get into a mix of online questions that have been chatted in, as well as some phone calls. So let's start with just a quick status of unemployment benefits. This crisis has really created an unprecedented demand for unemployment benefits as a result of COVID-19. We've been moving swiftly to change and enhance processes to meet the demand that has never been seen before in our program. And we feel, while not every single problem perhaps has been addressed, we do feel good about our increasing capacity and the ability to get benefits in folks' hands. Some of the processes that needed to be refined included we're having some challenges with PINs. So if you're calling about that, we have modified our PIN system. So I want to encourage you, if you have yet to file for benefits yet, I encourage you to include your email address when you file for benefits. It's really the best way to communicate with us. It'll also expedite with getting PINs emailed out to you all. And so we've gone from a system that used to deliver PINs via the U.S. mail, and now we're moving to emailing PINs. And PINs are necessary to request payment. In addition to online issues, we have also increased our call center staff. We've just about doubled that internally. And also to help with some of the demand, we've increased our call center hours by adding Saturday hours. You can access our Saturday call center from noon to 4 p.m. Furthermore, today we're going to be adding additional call center that's going to specifically help with some of the pandemic unemployment assistance claims. So we're adding that today in anticipation of our new system going live today. Which brings me to the next point. Starting today, not quite yet, but starting today, we will be opening up the new online system to take claims specifically for pandemic unemployment assistance. We anticipate that to be around the noon hour, but we encourage you to continue to watch the website, and it'll be clear and evident when that happens. So with that, let me talk a little bit specifically about pandemic unemployment assistance, or PUA. What it is this new federal benefits passed by Congress. Who is eligible includes gig workers, self-employed, and generally those who do not qualify for regular UI, and those who might have certain circumstances that have impacted their ability to work due to COVID-19. I'm going to pause there to clarify that if you're going through, when you go through the PUA application, if this applies to you, it's going to determine if you might be eligible for regular benefits before you move on to pandemic unemployment assistance. So don't be surprised if as you move through the PUA application later today or tomorrow, that it might say you are actually might be eligible for regular UI, and please go apply over here for regular unemployment insurance benefits. That's part of the screening process. Doesn't mean you're disqualified for all benefits, but I encourage you, if you get that message, to go to regular UI and apply there. That link is also clearly visible from our website. As mentioned, we're going to begin claims filing today around noon for pandemic unemployment assistance. Benefits for this particular program are retroactive to February 2nd, if and only if you were unemployed at that time. So whenever your benefit or your earnings capability were impacted, that's how far back your claim can be made retroactive. For the retroactive benefit weeks, you can request payment 24 hours after being deemed eligible. So, for example, if you were in tomorrow and you successfully submitted a claim within our pandemic unemployment assistance program, then you'll get some email communication that'll allow you to request payment then for the retroactive weeks. After you've dealt with the retroactive weeks, after that you will be able to submit request payments on a weekly basis. And as mentioned, the best way to get there is online. That's true of all benefits. The best way to interact with us in a timely, efficient manner is going to be online. So please check our website for coloradoui.gov. Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about the additional $600, which is also known as federal pandemic unemployment compensation. So what is it? It's new federal benefits passed by Congress that provides additional $600 per week on top of your regular benefit amount. So whatever your base benefit amount is, the $600 is an automatic add to that base benefit, regardless of what that base benefit is. In terms of who's eligible for it, I want to be very clear that this is for any benefits. So whether you're on regular unemployment insurance or you're on pandemic unemployment assistance, you are eligible under both programs for the additional $600. When that's available, that'll be available starting today. And you will see the additional $600 in your next payment request. But I want to be clear that for some of you that might be on the call today or watching online today, if you already have a regular UI claim, and this is retroactive to May 29th, we have begun processing for regular UI claimants who have an active claim. We began processing payments, those additional $600 for the first week, that March 29th week, starting yesterday. And so if you have a claim already in the system, anticipate seeing that additional $600 this week. The subsequent weeks, for the 2 weeks to follow, will be processed throughout the balance of this week. So you may not see all of that money, all of the $600 for each of the 3 weeks that have already passed in one lump sum. That might come in $600 increments throughout this week. So look for that. What action is needed? None. This is an automatic add into your claim. There's nothing additional you need to do. There's no separate application process. It'll be automatically added to your weekly benefit. If you want to get a sense of what your weekly benefit might look like, on our website at coloradoui.gov, there is a link for a benefits calculator. You can process your earning information into that, and it'll give you your base benefit amount, your estimated base benefit amount, and from there you would add on $600 to get an idea of what you might be looking for benefits. Next, I'm going to go briefly through some frequently asked questions. So one of the biggest ones we've had over the last 3 weeks was, where's my PIN? And again, we've made significant progress on this issue. We acknowledge that when this COVID-19 crisis started, there was a major influx of claims, and our systems hadn't been updated to maneuver from the U.S. mail to emailing those out. We've since resolved that issue and moved to where email addresses are provided, emailing those out. If you do not provide an email address, you may be getting an outbound robocall from us with that PIN. What you should expect in terms of timing is that a couple days after you file, Please have some patience on this. You should most likely get a email from us with your PIN. If it's about 3 to 4 days before your scheduled request payment date and you have not gotten the PIN yet, we would ask you to go to coloradoui.gov. From there, you'll find a link to request a new PIN. Please only use that if you're a couple days out from request payment and you haven't gotten your PIN yet. So if you've successfully filed an application and gotten confirmation of that and you haven't gotten it in a couple days, please give it a few more days. Be a little bit patient with us. How long should I expect after I file a claim to start seeing benefits? So generally, you can expect to be able to request benefits within 7 to 10 days, approximately, from your file date. And then it'll take, once you request payment, it'll be a couple business days before the money either hits your bank account. You can do direct deposit, which I would advise is probably the fastest way to get benefits into your bank immediately. Or you can sign up for a debit card. But it'll be a few days after your request payment date when that money hits your bank account. Next, what documents do I need to file a claim as a gig worker self-employed? So what we're asking you to do is bring your most recent tax documents. Hopefully you've got your 2019 tax documents. If you don't have your 2019 tax documents, we will accept 2018 tax documents, but we need official tax documents that will demonstrate your earnings and all of the relevant information we need to establish the benefit level that you are eligible for. What if I have a claim from another state? So generally speaking, if you just moved here and all of your employment history is with that other state, you're going to need to, and you just moved here and you really haven't had much employment history here, you're going to need to file with that other state. In spite of the fact that you live here, you're going to need to file with the other state that you came from. Lastly, what if I've already exhausted my benefits? So specifically, you will go, one of the categories for pandemic unemployment assistance is those that have exhausted benefits. So what it's going to do, we're going to ask you to file within pandemic unemployment assistance. Once that's up, we anticipate later today. And what that's going to do is it's going to run you through your eligibility scenarios, and you'll either be allowed to pass through to pandemic unemployment assistance application, or it might redirect you, depending upon your circumstances, to our regular UI benefits. It all depends upon some specifics around your specific cases. So hopefully that was a good overview of the information that you may be looking for. And so with that, I think we're going to start off with some questions that have been chatted in, and then we'll move to some phone questions. So
Jeff,
I've got a chat in.
It's Rebecca.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to take a quick pause. We've got some folks who are needing the online link. So again, you can join us at coloradoui.gov. Click the link that says you can access online here, and that will bring you into the online version of our presentation. And just a reminder about the polling questions. For those on the phone, you can participate in the poll that will help guide the questions we respond to today, which were covered in our presentation. Question about PIN number, press 1. Question about how do I qualify for the extra $600, press 2. More information about CARES Act, press 3. Gig worker or self-employed eligibility, press 4. When will I see my first check? Press 5. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Rebecca. Okay, let's move to some online chatted-in questions. Amara writes, could you please go over how do Uber, Lyft drivers proceed to apply for unemployment in Colorado? Thank you. That's a great question, Amara. And so we recognize that many Uber and Lyft drivers may have earnings from that work, as well as perhaps they're also a traditional employee. What we're going to want you to do, again, is bring all of your reported and necessary tax information to the application process. Because you have earnings because you potentially might have earnings in both categories as a covered worker as well as an independent or gig worker. It will process that information, and it will either allow you to proceed to apply under pandemic unemployment assistance, or it might redirect you to our regular UI benefits application portal. So that's a great question. Thank you for that, Amara. I've got another one here from Maya. Maya writes, my company has reduced our salaried employees' salaries by 20 to 40% to remain stable. They are not working reduced hours. Do they still qualify for any benefits? Who on my team can help with that question? So, Maya, generally speaking, we're seeing some issues where workers are trying their best to maintain their workforce. And so some companies have moved to a system where they might have employees working every other week. They might have people who have, as you said, reduced salaries. My best advice to you is to talk to your employer about the salary structure because and how they're orchestrating this. Because if you're working full time, meaning 32 hours or more, you may not be eligible for benefits. So while your salary itself may have been reduced, it may be a challenge with the number of hours that you're working. So I would encourage you to talk to your employer about the best way to orchestrate this, such that on given weeks you may be working less than 32 hours, and therefore you might be able to apply for benefits. Thank you for your question, Maya. Let's move to a phone call here. And we're going to go to David from Arvada, and I'm going to bring David on.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good, David. How are you today?
Good. My question is, I'm self-employed, and I've actually already filed. I filed back in April, and I'm just wondering, how does that work now that I've already filed as far as getting my forms? And I did call up a week or so ago, and they asked me to send in my tax returns for my business, and I didn't know if that's what you're talking about. Is it business tax returns you want or personal? And how would I get them there?
So, I'm sorry, can you clarify, David, how would you get them? The system's going to ask you to upload your tax documents in the application process. So that'll be an option. If you have them electronically on your computer, it'll allow you to update them or upload them to the application. Does that help?
No, I've already filed. I filed like at the beginning of April, and I've just been waiting for, I guess, clarification from, I guess y'all been waiting for clarification from the federal government of how to handle this. So I don't have an application to fill out. I've already got an application filled out. So how do I get my tax returns to you? Because I'm looking on my UI, and there's no way to download or upload anything to the system through that.
Okay. So, David, yeah, okay, so you submitted an application previously, and,
right.
Okay, Eric, it sounds like Eric from my team might be able to help you best. Eric, can you help David out here?
Yeah, sure, I'll give this a try. So yeah, I am able to see that David has already filed an unemployment claim a few weeks ago. It's in our system, but it doesn't have any qualifying wages, which is what we see a lot of times with self-employed people, owners of their own business, those type of folks. And there's kind of two ways to go with that. One, you can send in or upload proof of wages like Jeff was explaining. But it seems like in cases like this, David, you would qualify for our pandemic unemployment assistance. And that's what Jeff was talking about, was going to come online a little bit later today. maybe Jeff knows the answer to this. I'm not sure because you already have a regular unemployment claim in our system if it'll automatically move into the pandemic system or if you need to reapply there. So maybe Jeff can take the question from this point forward.
Thank you for that background, Eric. They're very helpful. So, yeah, David, given that you did not have a chance to include your tax documents, I would encourage you to reapply under pandemic unemployment assistance later today, and that'll give you the opportunity to upload those documents, okay?
Okay, reapply where at now? It'll be called?
It'll be on our website later today. There'll be an application for pandemic unemployment assistance. Okay?
And that's for self-employed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Awesome. I appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Dave. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Let's move over to Julie from Greenwood Village. I'm going to bring Julie on and have her ask her question. Julie?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having this. I was living in Aspen, Colorado, and I moved during this whole crisis, and I filed, it's actually my son, and he moved, and I did a mail forward, but the PIN is not coming. How do we go ahead and change an address to receive the PIN number?
Right. So, Julie, I'm going to start on this one, and if anyone on my team wants to jump in, I encourage them to do so. So you've got a unique situation here, Julie, given your move. And so I would suggest that you go onto our website, coloradoui.gov, and from there you'll be able to navigate to request a new PIN. That will allow you to enter an email address, and then we will simply email your address, email you the PIN to your new email address, as opposed to having to worry about your physical address right then and there. Does that help?
Yes, just one question. Do you know when I've been on the website, I couldn't find where I navigate to get request a new PIN.
Rebecca, do you have more specifics on where that tab is located?
I do. Right now, if you go to coloradoui.gov and click on the Workers button, and from that page, you'll scroll down about halfway down the page, and you'll see a yellow button that says Request PIN.
Okay.
You'll see a button for File a Claim, and then just below that, you'll see What's Next, and under that paragraph, Request a New PIN.
Okay, File Claim. And then then scroll down and you'll see it there?
That's right. It's on that. It's just one click away from coloradoui.gov, from the Workers button, and then on that main page that you land on, if you scroll down, there's one yellow button, and you click on the second yellow button that says Request a New PIN.
Okay. Well, thank you.
All right. Good luck, Julie. Thank you for calling in.
I appreciate your time.
Okay, next we're going to move to another question that I think is a good one for the audience. We have Michelle from Grand Junction. I'm going to bring Michelle on live. Michelle,
Hello.
you with us?
Yes, I am. How are you doing?
Hi. I'm well. How are you today? Do you want to talk about what's going on?
Yeah, I'm wanting to know where I haven't got my card yet. I got my PIN, but I have not received the card.
Okay. So I know that one thing, and again, my team, if you've got other thoughts on my answer here, please join in. But one thing that I know that you can do is if you've established a MyUI account, which you have an option to establish an account to interact with us electronically, what you can do if you haven't gotten a debit card is that you can go in there and choose to move to direct deposit instead of waiting on that debit card.
Okay.
So
all right. So
now
when I get... Oh, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. So when I tried to go into my account, it says I had an old account, I guess, there from 3 years ago when I had unemployment, and the password is not the same one that I thought it was. So I tried to change it, and they said they'd send something to my email, but nothing went to my email. to try to change my password on that.
Are you talking about your password or your PIN, Michelle?
Well, on my password, on my, when I tried to log in on, on the claimant thing, and IMU claimant, it says, log in.
So
And it has your username and your password.
Okay.
But it
And you're
says
having
the
trouble?
password. Yeah, I'm having trouble logging in on that.
Okay, so what you may need to do, Michelle, is you may need to reset your password. I would give that a try.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. I tried that, and they said send it to my email, but I never got anything on my email.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Okay, so when I tried to change my password, they said they would send something to my email showing me how to reset my password, but I never got anything on the email.
Okay.
I mean, is that how that works?
Jeff?
Yeah, so here's what I'm going to ask you to do, Michelle.
Okay.
I think that the best way to proceed here is that you navigate, as discussed with the last caller, navigate to our website, request a new PIN. From there, I think you'll be able to access your account and then reset your password. Okay?
Okay, great. All right, thank you.
Jeff,
Michelle,
can I jump in real?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
Robin, please.
Hi, I just want to ask Michelle a quick question because this probably
Yeah.
is applicable to many people. Are you using the same email address that you used 3 years ago when you had your unemployment insurance claim?
You
Because
know what?
if that email had changed, it's going to go to that
Uh-huh.
old email address. So if you have access to that, that's where you're going to be able to log in and find that in those instructions.
Okay. How do I change my whole email thing? For my new email. Can I do that?
You can. Usually that's typically done through our customer service center. And I'm not sure our instructions on that right now, but somebody would be able to do that. I don't think that you can change your email address online unless Jeff knows.
So it sounds like the best case scenario for you on this, Michelle, is to try to navigate back to your old email address, get your benefits going, since it seems that you have a little bit of a stall on benefits going, and then via our call center, once you've got that figured out and you've got benefits coming in, we'll be able to help you out via our call center to get that email address changed, okay?
All right. Thank you.
All right, good luck. Thanks for calling in.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I think I'm going to move to a chatted-in question. It comes from Benjamin. And he says, I had a claim from years ago. It took an extra time to get the PIN in the mail. Will I be paid for both, will I be paid back for both benefits and weekly and the $600 weekly for pandemic problems? So yes, Benjamin, your situation may be applicable to a number of people. And so, as talked about, if you're eligible for pandemic unemployment assistance, you may be eligible for benefits going back to the week of February 2nd, depending upon when your earnings were impacted. The $600 specifically, and this was set by Congress, the $600 for back benefits, that goes back to March 29th. So, and then if you're on regular unemployment, same situation. If you can demonstrate that your claim should have been backdated to a date previous to the date that you actually filed, then that will be backdated to that date. But in either scenario, the $600 will only go back to March 29th, depending upon when your claim started. Hope that's helpful, Benjamin.
Jeff, it's Rebecca. We're about halfway through the call, so I was might be a good time to stop and go back to the poll and see where we are with some of the responses to the polling questions, and then repeat the updates on the questions that were included in your introductory presentation, starting with an update on gig worker or self-employed, the status of individuals being able to apply for those benefits? Do you want to go over
Sure.
that one more time?
Yeah, that's a great idea, Rebecca. Thank you. Yeah, 60% of you seem to be joining us today with questions about gig worker self-employed eligibility. So yeah, let's pause there and reiterate a few things. The application, we're anticipating that we'll start receiving have the capacity to take applications for pandemic unemployment assistance later today. Check back around noontime, and that application, it should be very clear and distinct on how to navigate to that site. I will say that, as evidenced by the number of people who are interested in that, you should expect that there'll be heavy volumes today, and probably for the next couple days. And so our systems have been tested to take thousands of applications potentially an hour. But there may be heavy traffic there, so if it asks you to come back in about 30 minutes or try back later, please have some patience with that. Furthermore, when you're in the application, the same holds true. If pages don't load as quickly as you might be typically accustomed to, please have some patience with it. Allow it to process. Try not to hit refresh too many times. That'll create more problems with processing your claim. So again, look for that about noon today. The other poll question that's getting a lot of attention is how do I qualify for the extra $600? About 25% of you are interested in that today. And so let me reiterate a couple points on that. First and foremost, that's a flat amount. So regardless of whatever your base benefit is, that's a flat amount, the $600 that'll be added to your benefit. You'll get that on a weekly basis. There's no extra step you need to do to get that. That'll kick in automatically. That benefit amount is retroactive to, that additional $600 is retroactive to March 29th and extends through July 25th. Now, of course, that's only retroactive depending upon when your actual base benefit claim started. So if your claim didn't start until somewhere around mid-April, the extra $600 will only go back as many weeks as your actual claim goes back. But there's no additional step that you need to go through to get that. If you're already on regular UI, you should and you've been getting benefits through the month of March and into April, you should expect to see that extra $600 start to enter into your bank account or on your debit card starting this week. Thank you for that, Rebecca. Let's move back to another call. So this is a call from David in Littleton. David, I'm going to bring you on live, and let's see.
Yes, it's can you hear me there?
Yeah, please, Dave. Got some background on it.
Sure. Sorry about that. So it's Gabriel, and my question's kind of unique because I'm sure, like most people like me, I was already on unemployment, and then I had 2 job offers, who they emailed me, which I'm glad I have confirmation or proof about that. But then a week later, they retracted the offer because of COVID-19, and they specifically put that in the email. So unlike most Americans, I feel like I'm getting a double hit because I was already unemployed, trying to get my feet back into the working. I was about to do that, and then boom, COVID-19 hit. And the unique situation with me is my benefits is about to run out. I'm on week 26. So I guess the question is extended benefits.
Okay. That's a great question, David, and I'm sorry to hear about this circumstance and the fact that you had some jobs lined up and you were ready to start and then COVID-19 hit. A lot of people are in that situation. So even if you've got jobs that are lined up and are in the future and you're anticipating will start once some of these shelter orders are lifted and things are more opened up in terms of the economy, if you can demonstrate that that's the case, you could still qualify. So even if you're on week 26 of your current regular benefits, David, you're very much likely to be eligible for pandemic unemployment assistance. So folks that have exhausted their regular benefits are a group that are eligible for pandemic unemployment assistance. So, David, next week, when and if you get a notification from us that your benefits on regular UI have come to a conclusion, you can then move to the pandemic unemployment assistance application and process your claim there. Does that help?
Yeah, so that's basically starting a new claim then.
Depending upon your unique circumstances, it might just automatically roll over. But again, if you get specific communication from us that your claim and your benefits have expired, then I want you to go onto the new system and apply for pandemic unemployment assistance, okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, and good luck, David.
Thanks.
Okay, let's move to Paul in Highlands Ranch. I'm going to bring Paul on. Okay.
How you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
Good. You basically answered my question because I was in the same situation as one of the other callers, where we're a 1099 contractor, and we had filed before the CARES Act and all the guidelines were put into place in early March. So I just wanted to see if the application I had already put in would just roll over, or if the new one will avoid the other one. So that was basically my question, but you essentially answered it already. So.
Okay. So hopefully today's call was helpful to you, Paul. Good luck. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, let's move back to some online questions here. Let's see. Cleveland asks, will the max payable benefit be increased? So the max benefits have already been established for this coming quarter, Cleveland, so that's already established. And so, again, I'll reiterate that what you should do, if you're wondering what your benefit amount might look like prior to applying, you can go onto our website, coloradoui.gov, and from there you'll be able to navigate to a benefits calculator. And you'll be able to type in the information that's asking for, and it'll help to produce your likely benefit amount. And then what you're going to do is, from there, add in $600, because that benefit calculator does not include the additional $600 from the CARES Act. And regardless of what your base benefit is, whether it's regular UI or pandemic unemployment assistance, you're going to be eligible for that extra $600. So that's what I would ask you to do there, Cleveland. So hopefully that helps you out. Let's see, Rebecca, do you see another question that might be good, either online or on the telephones for us?
We have some questions about the documents required for the self-employed gig worker claims. Do you want to speak to those?
Sure. Again, so if you're self-employed or if you're a gig worker, and again, I recognize that if you're a gig worker, you might also have a traditional employment relationship where you're earning some level of money. And so what you're going to want to do is bring to the fold in the application process, so please have these ready and ideally download it on your computer and ready to upload into our application. So do all that background work first before you start the application process. And so ideally you'd bring your 2019 tax documents, whatever's appropriate for your situation, be it a gig worker, be it a regular W-2 employee, and bring that information or a combination thereof, and then you're going to want to supply all of your tax documents and all of your earnings when you file. And so we're accepting 2019 documents for gig workers specifically, if they have them. If not, we will accept 2018, but ideally you'd have your 2019 ready for us. Okay, I hope that's helpful. So here's a question from Michelle in Arvada. I think it has to do with the PPP. So, Michelle, I'm going to bring you online and have you ask your question for the good of the group. Can you hear me, Michelle?
Good morning. I can. Good morning. Thanks
morning.
for taking my calls. So, with a lot of self-employed individuals, we are also small businesses. And so my question is, I'm kind of looking to apply for unemployment because the SBA PPP program is starting to look a little bit less and less likely. And so I guess my question is, if I go ahead and apply for the pandemic unemployment assistance and something happens after the fact where an SBA PPP loan comes in, I obviously don't want to take unemployment away from others who need it if I have another way of kind of compensating for the loss of my own paycheck. Does that make sense? So I don't know how the two of those kind of work in conjunction with each other, or if I just stop drawing benefits if I do get unemployment benefits at a particular point in that process.
Yeah, that's a great question, Michelle. So here's what I'll say, a couple things. Yes, there's obviously a couple different economic stimulants and packages that Congress has unveiled to help with this situation, and PPP, or Paycheck Protection Program, is one of them. I think we've heard that a lot of those funds have been used up, but then Congress is looking to enact further legislation to replenish the availability of those funds. And so, yes, basically, you can't be on both at once. And so you're going to want to look at if PPP is the most appropriate avenue for you, then you can work to get that. I will clarify, Michelle, that your capacity to draw benefits from unemployment insurance has no bearing on anyone else in the state's capacity to draw unemployment insurance. So unlike PPP, there is not a defined fund amount where, depending upon how many people claim benefits, that the funds might run out. So that's the difference between unemployment insurance and PPP, if that helps to guide in your decision making. So I hope that's helpful, Michelle.
It is. I guess my question would be, should I just apply for the unemployment first, or would you recommend that I just wait, a few more weeks to see if the small business PPP loan comes in or doesn't, and then apply for benefits retroactively?
Yeah, that's going to be a decision you're going to need to make depending upon your economic situation, and if you've got the capacity to wait a few weeks and see if PPP might be the best avenue for you. If you don't have that luxury, Michelle, then by all means you can apply for benefits now through unemployment. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Jeff, I think you may have addressed this, but it's I think a common problem folks are encountering. So Lindsay writes that she filed too early as a self-employed person, got a PIN, but benefits are zero. Now what? We have a couple questions about this, and do they need to reapply?
So Eric or Robin, can you jump in here on this question to help the caller out?
Yeah, sure. Can you repeat that general question again, Rebecca?
Sure. The question is, they filed earlier with regular unemployment. They're self-employed. They received a PIN, and their benefits say zero. And do they need to reapply now in the new PUA application?
Okay. So, yeah, that seems to be similar to what a couple other callers were asking. And kind of the guidance we're giving is, yeah, you would want to reapply on the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance website when that comes up later today. Because if your regular UI claim has no wages, then we're not going to be able to pay you on that system, on that program, and you're going to most likely have to go to the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program and reapply there.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Eric. Eric, here's another one I think might be good for you. It's a caller, and so I'm going to bring Donovan from Erie on to ask his question. Donovan, are you there?
I'm here, thank you. Yes, so I was laid off in early March, and I filed for unemployment. I received my first payment, and then I was lucky enough to get a severance package as a lump sum payment in early April. And I have not been able to find a mechanism for reporting that severance package. And because of that, I've been too scared to request more unemployment payments because I don't want it to become an overpayment or a fraud situation. So how do I report the severance package that I got after initially filing for unemployment?
Okay, Donovan. What you do want to do is go ahead and request your next payment on your unemployment claim. And as you're answering the series of questions in that payment request, one of those specifically asks if you've received anything like severance, PTO, etc. And it would be in that payment request application that you tell us what you received. That'll go to one of our claims processors who will look at the information and determine if we need to postpone your benefits for a determined amount of time and then let you go back on unemployment again once your severance, quote unquote, runs out.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question, Donovan?
I think it does. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you, Donovan. Thank you, Eric. All right, we've got time for just a couple more questions here. So let's see here. I got somebody who chatted in. Can I use 1099 form from Uber to prove I worked for Uber and my wife manages some Airbnb listings? Can she use her 1099 from Airbnb? So Eric or Robin, do you have any counsel for them in terms of the tax documents? I think generally what we've been telling folks is that you can use either your 1040 or your 1099 or your W-2, depending upon which category you might fit best into, or a combination thereof. Okay? I hope that helps. Let's see, it says here, my benefits expired 3/23 and I keep reapplying. I don't know what to do because it doesn't show anything. So, Robin, Eric, we've got somebody whose benefits expired in March and they're having trouble. What's the thought there? Should they be going to pandemic unemployment assistance? Is that the best avenue for them later today?
So if the claim is expired, they would need to try to reestablish a new claim one way or the other, either through a new regular claim if you still have regular wages to use. If you haven't worked in normal covered employment in the last year, then you'll probably want to apply for the pandemic unemployment assistance. But just not knowing where this person has worked in the last year, I can't specifically direct you to the right application, but it does sound like you would have to reapply for a whole new benefit year under one of two systems.
Okay, great. Thanks for that, Eric. So just building upon what Eric said, your unique circumstances may drive you to one place or another. So I think the best course might be to apply for pandemic unemployment assistance. That system will automatically check to see if you might still be eligible for regular unemployment. And if you are, it'll redirect you to that application. Let's see here. It says here, I've already filed, but have been denied. Do we keep requesting payments every 2 weeks until we get it? So Eric, that might be an it depends situation, right? Can you talk about that, if they've been denied, and whether they should just keep requesting every 2 weeks until they get it, or whether they might have to reapply? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I can try. If you've been denied, then that makes it sound like if your claim's already been processed and we said you're either at fault or not at fault. if we've found you at fault and that took all the benefits off your claim, then you could be eligible for the pandemic unemployment assistance. It's possible if you received a denial decision from the department and it's something that you strongly disagree with, you have the chance to appeal that possibly. And if you appeal, then you might be able to get benefits put back onto your regular unemployment claim. So it sounds like there's a couple different ways to proceed here.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Eric. Admira, I've got a question here that involves an appeal. It's from Kathleen from Fort Collins. I'm going to bring her on and see if you can help answer her question for her.
Hi.
Okay.
Hi, Kathleen.
Okay, hi, how are you guys?
Okay, how are you today? What can we help you with?
Good, thank you. Okay, I applied back in March, and I got my PIN, I got my card. They told me to start calling. The first time I called in was April 12th. I'm scheduled to call in again on the 26th, which is this coming Sunday. They told me that I didn't qualify at first because of where I worked. But then she said that she gave me, she did everything for me. She said that when this pandemic come available, then I would qualify. Do I need to go back in and reapply for that, or do I just keep calling like I have been and waiting for my benefits to show up?
So can I ask a clarifying question, Kathleen? Do you have an active appeal that you processed with our
I've got the appeal papers. My appeal phone call is on the 30th. I've already sent them what they needed, my W-2s. They already have all that. And I looked on the website. She told me to keep checking that website. And when it showed, that they were ready, it had kicked in, that I would be okay. But then I saw that I don't understand what a gig worker is. I guess that's one of my questions.
So, Jeff,
I'm not self-employed.
If that would help.
I'm sorry, what?
I apologize, Kathleen. Go ahead.
What is a gig employer, a gig worker? I don't think I am one, but I want to be sure.
So, go ahead. Sorry, Admira, go ahead. I think you've got this.
No problem. So, Kathleen, thank you for your question. So first, in Colorado, in order to qualify for unemployment insurance benefits traditionally, you have to be considered with a covered employee. And a gig worker would be somebody who's paid, for example, on a 1099 and not a traditional W-2. Can I ask, were you paid on a traditional W-2 or were you getting compensation?
I got a traditional W-2. I got a W-2 form, but I booked at a church. That's a nonprofit organization.
I see.
And that's why I didn't qualify at first.
And that would be the reason. So one of the exemptions under Colorado law is also religious organizations. You are correct that you can appeal that, and a hearing officer can hold a hearing to determine whether or not you would still qualify for traditional unemployment if your unique circumstances warrant an exemption for the religious organization that you work for. However, under the new pandemic unemployment assistance, you would be one of the individuals that qualifies for benefits if you are found to be ineligible under traditional UI. So it sounds like, Jeff, and you can jump in, that Kathleen maybe could also just apply for the pandemic unemployment assistance later today, and you can continue to pursue your appeal to see if you can still get the traditional unemployment as well.
So I should, I don't think I'm going to qualify for the traditional unemployment. That's one of my questions. Do I need to go back in there, or can I just, because I've already filed and got my card and my PIN number, and I activated my card, and I've been calling them, and they told me to call in. Should I still go in this afternoon and apply for the other one, or could I just keep it on this one and go ahead with my appeal? Or
so, in order to avoid delay, I would likely recommend that you go ahead and apply for the pandemic unemployment assistance, because that is one of the classes of workers that would potentially qualify for that federal benefit if they're ineligible for the state one. That does not prevent you from pursuing your state appeal. If your state appeal is then reversed and it's in your favor, then there will be an offset to your account, essentially, I would assume, Jeff.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah.
Okay, so they said that when I talked to the woman, I waited on hold forever. Finally got through, and I talked to the woman. She did all my paperwork, and then she couldn't find where I worked at. That's what she told me. I wouldn't qualify for this, but eventually this other stuff would come through, and I would get something. So would they go back to? She said that my unemployment would start on the 29th of March. Would they go back that far then if I apply for the pandemic stuff, or?
Yeah,
I've only called in once.
Go ahead,
yeah, no, it's okay. If you, I think to Jeff's point earlier, if you can demonstrate that your benefits should start back on as of March 29 as your effective date of the claim, then I believe that back date is available. But I don't know your unique circumstances as to whether or not the claim is still open and valid. If it's valid back to 3/29 still and it's still open, then the assumption there is that you would receive the benefits that you'd have been entitled to back to that date.
Okay, so I should go back in and I should have qualified reapplied this afternoon. That would be the best way to go, or keep my appeal date.
Yes, so I would go ahead and reapply for the pandemic unemployment assistance, because you, as of right now, have been found to be ineligible for traditional unemployment based on the fact that you work for a religious organization.
Okay, so I just go back to where I did the first time. That's coloradoui.gov, and then go to the pandemic.
That's
yes,
correct.
ma'am.
Link.
Okay.
And
thank you, Kathleen.
So my application there, is that where I get that at? Is www.colorado.gov or ui.gov?
Yes, ma'am.
And there's a pandemic tab.
Yes, it'll be up later today. It's not there now, but it'll be up later today. Okay?
Okay, and then I just follow the steps and do yeah, because I did it over the phone. And I do this over the phone too, because I don't have an actual computer. It's on my phone. And it's really hard to get anything that way.
You can try via your smartphone if you have a smartphone. Otherwise, you'll have to do it via the telephone. But the easiest way is going to be online. Okay? Thanks,
Give me the phone number.
Beth, it's Rebecca.
Yes.
So as we close out the call, just a couple of housekeeping items here. To Kathleen's question, sometime this afternoon, coloradoui.gov, you'll see a change to that landing page. You'll see a button that says File a Pandemic Unemployment Claim, and there's some content that says who should file which type of claim. So again, soon you'll see a redesigned homepage. There would be 4 buttons. The first one is File a Regular Claim. The second button will say File a Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Claim. Click on that button, and it will take you into the application.
Okay, great. Rebecca, anything else we want to review before we adjourn? I think it's been a helpful call for a lot. Hopefully it's been helpful for many of you, given the number of questions we had on the $600 and the number of questions we had on pandemic unemployment assistance. Anything we want to review before we adjourn, Rebecca?
No, I think we covered kind of the top questions as voted and sent in. This town hall will also be available later today on coloradoui.gov. So if you joined late or stepped away, there's another opportunity to go through the entire presentation, and that will be released again from coloradoui.gov later today.
Okay, so hopefully this has been helpful to you all. Thank you for your time and attention. We're working hard to get you the benefits that you need. We'll remind you that the best way to interact with us will be online, and we are expanding our capabilities within the call center, but you should expect to see some continued wait times for the call center as we try to serve this high demand at this time. Thank you and good luck.